Well, I always say I think you going back would be great just because like your life has changed so much. It would be like a brand new housewife.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be, but I just am not in that mental place anymore. Like I've fully moved on, and my life is so stress-free and so zen, and just I just think that chapter is closed for me.
Really?
Not
So
every
like,
show. I would like, just like boot camp. I went on to boot camp easily. I did Below Deck, like all these other shows. I have no problem. I just think Housewives in general, for me, not for everyone else. I love the franchise. I know it's amazing and super successful. I just, for the walk of life I'm in right now.
so if they called right now,
Well, they did, and that's when I went on. I went on last season for a one-time episode. I just said I'll go on one time and give everybody an update of Jim and Drew and all that. And so I filmed that one time with Emily, and it was a lot of fun. And I love Emily. Excuse me, I had a hiccup. Love Emily, but yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
did they want you to be on more last season than that one time?
Not after that one time, but it originally talk had started because they wanted me to come back on. So I just couldn't do it. So
Wow. Well, like you said, I mean, you get paid to bring it's drama. That's what they
right.
want.
Yeah.
And today, after all of our chats with Miss Alexis Jesus Jugs Bellino, we're going to share some classic blasts from the past. What are your favorite Housewives chats of ours? We just showed you Heather Dubrow. We're about to show you a whole bunch of other little clips today that are kind of our best of. So enjoy, and hopefully you enjoyed our chat with Alexis Bellino also.
Yes. And then subsequently, that was when Bravo issued their public statement standing in alliance with me. And they said, like, we stand with Dr. Tiffany Moon and her advocacy. Anti-racism is, in fact, not racism. So they issued a public statement, I think, the day after.
I totally remember that too.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a whole shitstorm. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
So another reason to me, and this is just where my mind goes, do you think, and look, I mean, you don't know for sure, but like, do you think, because this also happened right around the time, listen, I'm close with Ebony in the real world. This also really happened right around the same time that, New York's ratings plummeted. I mean, that's just a fact. And, the whole world made comments that we don't want to hear about race on TV. That's not me. That's what the people seem to say. And then we had a canceled New York reunion. And now like New York is trying to figure some things out. But the whole reunion being canceled and, this whole thing that was going on and the ratings decreasing really was the time that they also said Dallas isn't coming back. So do you think that could have had something to do with it in the sense that like, it was implied to the world that you and Deandra and Cam were the ones coming back and no one else was. And so if you and Cam were both coming back, I mean, you can't run away from the person you're filming with. This would have been part of the new season of Dallas. Like, do you think that, I mean, I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just saying, do you think that factored into like, well, we have this with New York and it's not going so well. Why in another franchise where the ratings are not great, would we want to just bring on a whole nother season of racist, who's racist and all these allegations, just the whole concept? Do you think that could be part of it too?
Yeah, I think that everything you said is part of it. Dallas was always the lowest rated franchise of however many, the teen of them that there are, always. This season 5 did not fare particularly better. I think, across the franchises, all the ratings sort of dropped a little bit. When we might have started filming again was when Delta started rearing its head in Texas. And then the producers called me and was like, oh, we don't know, we might have to push back filming and, we're still unsure. And I said to him, and I remember this sort of jokingly, we were on a phone call and I said, you know what, let's just scrap the whole thing. Let's just like cut the cord and, maybe pick it up in a year or two or never. But like, it's just, I feel like the universe is telling us no. And we're like trying too hard to make it happen. The cast, the new people weren't gelling. I basically, in so many words, said that I refused to film with Cameron. And COVID in Texas, particularly, was starting to go on the upswing again after the summer when it had started to defervesce. And I was like, I really feel like the universe is telling us no. And I said, so let's just scrap the whole thing, like in a joking kind of way. And then a couple of weeks later, they're like, we're scrapping the whole thing. And I was like, okay, then.
So Tiffany, are you saying it was your idea to put this?
No, it was not my idea, but also it did not completely surprise me when that phone call came and I, shed not a tear over it. It was actually the first emotion that I felt when they said, we're putting this on hold for a while, was relief. So like this wave of relief washed over me.
Really?
Yes.
Stephanie has said the same thing, I mean, in a way, not in so many words. I mean, whether she was going to be a part of it or not, but wow. Because I was going to ask you on a scale from 1 to 10. I mean, it was your first season, how upset you were, but it sounds like not necessarily. Like, I understand you're a perfectionist. So I think you would have gone ahead with it if it went ahead, but now you didn't have the pressure anymore because you don't have to make that decision.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm really glad that I didn't, because part of me thinks, gosh, if they cast my friends and then COVID was over and they're enticing me with like a nice international trip, like I probably would have done it again, because how many people like say no, you know what I mean? I can't really go back in time and say, but I was really on the fence. And throughout the season when it was airing and I was doing podcasts and press, I was always like, oh, I don't know. We'll have to see how it, all washes out. So to be honest, I'm really, really glad that they just made the decision for me and put it on hiatus, because now I have the time to pursue my other endeavors, which to be honest are so much more fun than filming for Housewives.
Comedy has to be more fun, right?
Yes. I mean, you said it at the beginning of the podcast and I picked it up. I was like, I will just be known for the 3 C's, which are my closet, my candles, and my comedy. If that's all you remember Tiffany Moon for, it's fine with me.
Those are good. Those are some good things. And it was really just relief. It was just like, oh, wait, I'm in a great mood today. And this is really why.
Yeah, I felt so relieved. I called my husband and I was like, babe, they're not going to do season 6, at least, not for now. And he's like, how do you feel? And I was like, so relieved. Like, I just felt like weight lifted off my shoulders. Like I didn't need to, be pressured, and I didn't need to hang out with people that I don't necessarily care for or would else hang out with if it weren't that we were working together. You know what I mean? It was like, you got fired from a job that you didn't really like or need.
Totally. No, I'm the same way. I mean, it is passive aggressive in a way, but I am literally the same way, that I'm not one to say no to things. And so like if someone wants me and it's an opportunity, it's like, I'm not really going to say no if you're convincing me I'm great for it. But then when something doesn't happen, you're like, I'm actually kind of happy. I totally understand. It makes sense. How was your BFF Deandra though with this?
I think she was more upset than I am. I do not want to speak for her, or put words in her mouth. But I think the show meant a lot more to her than it meant to me because of her history with it. She had been on since season 2, so she did 4 seasons, and that's, I mean, when you're on the show and when it's showing and you're doing press and handling social media, it is all consuming. I mean, that is your life. And so because I think of her longer history with the show, it meant more to her that it was being put on hold than me. I was like, oh, well, 1 season, whatever. But I think it hurt her a little more.
I mean, that's understandable. And you do think New York could have factored into this decision overall, like as a network?
Yeah. I mean, New York